Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about an important concept, talking about scapular upper rotation. That's just a fancy way of saying how well does a shoulder blade rotate up on top of that rib cage. So one of the things that we have to look at, right, when we're looking at the scapula is how is it being positioned relative towards the spine. So you got your superior medial border of the scap and you got your inferior medial border of the scap, right? And what we need to look at is the distance between where the spine and the scap lies and where the scap rests. So scapular upper rotation, or known as scapular humeral rhythm, is very, very important in throwers, right? Because as overhead athletes, how we dictate our shoulder health is all predicated on that scapula. How well does that scapula upwardly rotate? So if the scapula can upwardly rotate smoothly and properly, it's gonna keep that congruency of the ball and socket of the shoulder, right? And so think about what happens to throwers when they get injured, right? You'll see a lot of bicep tendinitis, superior labrum slap tears, right? And a lot of that is because over the course of the season, you're going to start to see that the scapula will start resting in more of a downward decompressed state, which then will turn into a lack of upward rotation. And when you have a lack of upward rotation, you're going to start to see that ball ride up into that shoulder socket, causing the impingement, or that's where you'll start to see the acromion, the AC joint, start to get impinged because the scapula isn't functioning properly to keep that congruency of the shoulder socket. And so that's what's really important as overhead throwers. So when we're looking at athletes who have shoulder pain, okay, the pain is being recepted towards here, but why is the pain happening? The pain's happening because of the improper movement and strength of the upper rotation of the scap. So that's why when guys start having shoulder issues, then you're going to start to see the receptive of the pain happening down to the elbow. When the shoulder starts to break down, then you're going to start to see the elbow break down. And so that's why when we're looking at injury protocols and we're looking overall at injuries, right, we can't treat symptoms. We got to find the cause. So if a guy is getting a bunch of forearm tightness, inner elbow issues, we got to look at the shoulder, right? We got to look at how strong is the shoulder overhead, and if the shoulder isn't strong, then we got to look at the positioning of the scap on the rib cage and how does that scap upwardly rotate, right, to keep that congruency of the ball and socket of the shoulder, but overall to keep us healthy overhead as overhead athletes.